So cross that bridge when we come to it. Have any of you heard that expression before? Good. So this might, I have to approach this a little differently in order to describe it. But we have cross, bridge, and come. So bridge, we have know what a bridge is. What it gets us.
Cross the river.
Okay, so it gets us from one point
To the second point.
to a second point. Yeah, you have to cross the river, or cross the bridge. So basically a way of getting from point A to point B.
Receiving means don't do anything when you're not ready. When you are not ready, don't do anything.
No.
No. Okay, how do you go across the bridge?
Yes.
How?
How? Walking.
Walking or
Or swimming. No. Walking. Cross.
cross? So in order to get across a bridge, you cross a bridge. You only cross the bridge when you
Reach. When you reach the bridge, you can cross.
come
To
to it. Okay, you only cross the bridge when you come to it. You can't. This sounds stupid, but you can't cross the bridge unless you're there. I can't cross the bridge until I come to the bridge to cross it.
Cross.
This sounds simple, but there's a reason I'm saying it. So you cross the bridge when you get to the bridge. So think of, I will do my best with drawing this. So this is a river. And what you have to get from here to here. And at this river, there's a path. There's a path. And in order to get over the river, there is a bridge. So I'm walking along this path until I get to the river, I cross the bridge. There's three different bridges in this case that I have to cross. And the bridge is my way of getting across to this next point. But I can only cross this bridge once I get to it. Sometimes in life, we may think, well, man, I'm right here, but I'm already thinking about how am I going to get across this bridge? You're always thinking in the future about how am I going to cross that bridge. But it's easier just to do one bridge at a time, to cross this bridge and just worry about crossing the last bridge when you get to it, versus worrying about it when it's way out in the future. So that's where I'm going to try to make it more figurative. And a lot of times we have problems
Yes.
in life that we have to solve. And those problems that we have to solve, those are the bridges. Something we have to get across, something we have to get to the other side of. And many times, there may be a problem out in the future that we don't know how to solve. But a lot of times already we're thinking about, how am I going to solve it? But the best thing to do is just cross that bridge when you come to it. Worry about the problems that you're immediately in front of and how to solve those. Then once you get to the point where you have to solve that problem that you've been worrying about, then you can solve it. Because a lot of times, everybody has the temptation, including myself, of worrying about what the future holds, or worrying about how to solve certain future events. And you're always thinking, well, how am I going to solve that? But there's all these problems before that you have to solve. So it's just like, work one day at a time, slowly at each problem, and just worry about solving that problem that's way out in the future that's worrying you once you get to that point.
Means don't worry about the problem in the future.
Right. So, an example.
Try again.
Huh?
Try again.
Try again. So,
No.
It means that you have to face fact.
Yes.
Yes, like
have to face the facts. Yeah, it just means you have to face the facts.
yes.
You just have to face the facts that are immediately in front of you. For example, I'm going to use this movie. I mentioned this movie before, but it's that NASA movie.
You can read it.
So this movie, Apollo 13, it's a space movie. It's the movie where I was saying, and for those of you who don't know, it's the movie where a group of astronauts go into space and something breaks on their ship. And because something breaks on their ship, it's very dangerous and they might die. So NASA, back in the United States, is trying to figure out ways to get them safely back to Earth from space. So naturally, because something broke on their spaceship, there's all these problems that they have to figure out how to solve. But they have to, in order to bring them home safely, they just have to work one problem at a time. There's certain problems that they can't solve yet until they fix the problem that's immediately in front of them. Yes, those problems in the future exist, but you have to solve the problem that's right in front of you in order to get to the next problem. So, in this case, let's pretend these are the astronauts. They're in space. This is getting them safely back to Earth, point B. They have all these problems to solve in order to get them to Earth. They're right here, they can only worry about the problem that's immediately in front of them. During the movie, somebody asks somebody, well, how are we going to the parachutes. Once they get to Earth, there's a risk that they might be frozen and they won't open correctly. So somebody asks one of the leaders, well, what about the parachutes? Will they open or will they be frozen? That's the problem. But they can't do anything about that problem right now. That's a problem that's going to happen at the end. Like they'll have to deal with that eventually, but there's nothing they can do about it right now. So they say to that guy, well, I guess we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. In other words, that parachute problem, about wondering whether or not the parachutes will open, that's a problem that we will have to solve, but we can't solve right now. We'll have to solve it when we get to that point. Does that make sense? That example? It's a problem, but it's not a problem that we can solve right now. There's other problems we have to solve in order to just get them to the point to where they can get terrorism.
Advanced problem.
Huh?
Don't solve the advanced problem. Solve the problem now. Don't solve the problem at once. The problem.
Whatever the problem is now.
Yeah, now.
You can't solve the final problem immediately without solving the previous problems before then. Yeah.
If I want to getting a master degree, so we face difficult problems like we study hard. Sometimes the bridge is maybe a problems. So we cross the problems. I cross the problems, then we get a master degree.
Okay.
So this is my opinion.
So I guess you're saying that you're at point A,
Yes.
and getting your master's degree is point B. And
Yes. Point B. Yes.
Okay. So there's different problems.
Bridge is sometimes we study hard midnight until midnight. We study. The second bridge is I have a financial problems, so we crossed that one. So third problem is